I don't know if I want Jason Peters signing with the Cowboys.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
So I don't have a problem with a 40-year-old Jason Peters signing with the Cowboys because I think it's good for for the Eagles in a way. He gave us, four-time All Pro, 7-time Pro Bowler, Super Bowl champion.
Yeah.
Gave his ACLs for us, gave his legs for us, gave his back for us, everything. Spent a lot of time in the medical tent at the end of the year, at the end of
Yeah.
his time here
Yeah.
and whatnot. But the thing I hate about
Yeah.
is he calls the Cowboys an arrogant organization back in 2018, and then he drops a quote yesterday, and it was just like Jerry Jones. It was me and him, love at first sight. It was kind of like
Arkansas
Costanza.
guys.
Yeah, kind of like Costanza quitting on Friday and then coming in on Monday and be like,
Yeah.
what do you think I meant that? You
Yeah.
think I meant that? Like, well, translation was here's $1.5 to $2 million, and we come play backup left tackle for us.
I think I'm supposed to be mad about this,
I don't
but
know.
I'm not really. I don't know. Maybe just because Jason Peters has just been on the periphery and kind of like on the outs for the last 3 to 4 years. I mean, I don't even think people were in love with Eagles fans weren't even in love with him, in his last year or two with the Eagles. So if this was a different time and he left to go join them in free agency when he was 35 years old or 32 years old or something like that, maybe we'd feel different about it. But and beyond that too, I think like the Cowboys thing has just died down a little bit. It used to be every time the Cowboys game would come around, it's the biggest thing ever. I don't think like younger kids necessarily care about the Eagles Cowboys rivalry. Why do I always have trouble with that word? Rivalry, the way that we used to, because the Cowboys were good.
Yeah, I'm more of a. I hate the Giants more than I hate the Cowboys. Is that a hot take or is that okay?
No. I think a lot of people who were like age 20 to 30 probably look at that the same because like Eli won those 2 Super Bowls, in 3 years or 4 years or whatever that was, and the Cowboys had been mostly dog shit for a long time. So I don't think a certain generation looks at them, the same way that other people do. So maybe that has something to do with people seeming to have like kind of a muted reaction to the Jason Peters thing.
What do you think about it? You got Staubach, you got Aikman, you got Jimmy Johnson, you got the other coach, Tom Landry, all during our fathers and our grandfathers' years. I had Quincy Carter, Drew Henson, Tony Romo.
Yeah. Des Bryant. Like who is there to hate,
DiNucci for a game.
Ben DiNucci.
Yeah, Ben DiNucci. I have Dak
Not
Prescott,
Mark
who's
Narducci.
Dak Prescott is probably the best quarterback they've had in my lifetime. It was Romo dropping the extra point attempt or the field goal attempt to lose it in the playoffs. It was Quincy Carter coming in and just getting ransacked every single time. It was them losing like 40-3, or I forget what it was, the last game of the year. The Cowboys, we just don't have like. They have us in. I guess they have us in the playoffs a couple times, but those teams were never like the strongest teams ever that were like going to the Super Bowl, and the Cowboys upset us. I mean, really, the only thing the Cowboys I feel like have over us is the Donovan coming out of the tunnel doing the guitar.
Oh man, yeah, him and like Dahani Jones or whatever, wasn't it? And with Deshaun Jackson, the other one. I think it's funny too because you get to you have kind of 2 schools of thought on this, right? I think there's a lot to be said for going out on top, and leaving it to a point where people can't remember you for anything other than being a stud. So if Jason Peters had retired after the 2016 season or 2017 season, even though he didn't play in the Super Bowl, I think he would have solidified his like legend status. You don't give anybody a chance. It's like when a band drops like 4 perfect albums and they're like, we're done. They don't leave you an opportunity to drop a shit album because it's like, well, now you can't remember us for anything other than being good. But on the other side, you get far enough past that. And you look at a guy who's 40 years old and he's still playing in the NFL. And like, you got to give him credit for that. And like, hey, this guy, okay, obviously this guy just loves the sport, just loves playing football. You get like over this hump of like, hey, you're washed. Like, let's try to, wrap it up here to the point of like, hey, this guy's like a lifer, man. And he's, I guess you begrudgingly give somebody credit for that, whether you think it's the right choice or not.
So that's what I was kind of thinking. Like I'll be honest with you, the first thought that went to my mind was, is Jason Peters broke? Because the guy made $117 million his career. He's playing one of the most grueling positions at left tackle. He's 40 years old. It can't be. I mean, you're what, 36, 37? You getting out of bed, you probably hurts in the morning. I mean, 40 years old after playing 18 years in the NFL has to be absolutely insane. Like,
no, I can't
why would
imagine.
you keep coming back and going to meetings and going through practice and going through all this? And then he had that quote too. I think it was Sirius XM where he's just like, I'd love to kind of just pass on the torch to the young guys, teach them some things, or line up with these veterans going to the playoffs and they know how I rock. So let's go.
Though maybe he's coming from the school too of like what I was arguing with my pickleball column, which got lambasted. Yeah, you only do it once, right? I mean, you're only 30 to 40 once, right? I mean, he's got the rest of his life to sit around and do nothing.